All right, next we're going to talk about Lab 3, Functions and Procedural Abstraction. So exercise 1 gives us a pre-made piece of code for computing the power between some different variables. So you have variables defined and then you're computing powers through a very specific way. You're computing powers by multiplying them by itself a certain number of times. So for example, 2 to the 4th multiplies 2 times 2 4 times. So it's while this counter starts at 0 and goes up to less than the number of times it's counting. So make sure you understand what's going on in this loop. A is 2, P starts as 1, so it's initially 1 times 2, but then it's 2 times 2, and then times 2, and then times 2 again with each rotation of the loop. After the looping is done, the C out just tells the response. And we have that same setup for all of these situations. It asks us to modify the program to use the predefined function pow to compute a raised to the b power. And to do this, we have to include the CMath library to be able to do this. And we'll use the notation pow equals 3, 4 for 3 raised to the 4th, for example. So all I have so far in Visual Studio is that code copied directly over. I'm going to add in our CMath function. Then we already discussed this while loop is what performs the POW. And so instead of using this while loop, we're going to use a single statement that just says POW of, I do need to keep that loop because the comment tells us what we're doing. So we're computing 2 raised to the 4th. So we'll say P equals POW of 2, 4. So 2 and 4 are arguments to the function POW. So remember that a function returns some value. So P is equal to the result of running this function. So POW takes the numbers 2 and 4, raises 2 to the 4th power, returns the result, and then that's what's saved into P. So make sure you're clear on how a function is going to actually do that. And same with 3 raised to the 3. We'll just use the POW function again, 3, 3. For 3 raised to the 3, and you can already see visually that using functions greatly reduces the amount of total code you have on your screen. Let's say we're doing 5 to the 4th. And actually all of these can be identical because A and B are what are defined here. So I'll just say P equals POW of A to B. That will perform that action. If you see yourself repeating, copy and pasting the same line of code, that means you're probably not doing it in the best way. You are repeating code, which means you could be looping. We'll talk about structuring things in most efficient ways as we move forward. For now, I'm going to just strictly follow what we were asked to do. So we need to build and then run this project, and we see that that execution is identical to what we had prior to those changes. And I forgot to run it and show you, but the calculation is the same. We just have way less lines of code because we use the POW function. So that's all we were asked to do in exercise 1.